the name of the chapter in Lord of the Rings in which the ring gets destroyed?
It's Mount Doom, right?
No.
Oh, no. Is it the Black Gate is open?
No.
Hold on. What?
It's in this chapter. The Black Gate is closed.
The ring gets destroyed in
Yeah, the ring
this
gets destroyed in this chapter.
Okay. All right. I'm okay. I'm with you.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Okay. So this is my theory.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard this theory, but this is theory. I'm going to go with it. So you ready to bear with me? Please.
Yeah. I'm actually
push back if you think this is silly, but
I will.
Okay. Yes.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Okay. So they come to the Black Gate and it's closed, right?
Right.
And then, of course, Gollum is like, "Hey, I brought you here. You told me to. I knew it wasn't going to work, but you told me to. Master told me to bring him to the Black Gate, and here I am. I did it." Right. Sam rolls his eyes. Gollum's like, "No, nice master, don't go that way. It's no use. Don't take the precious to him. Blah blah blah."
Right.
And then he just kind of keeps in his passion. He kind of runs away with himself. He ends up saying, "Keep it, nice master, and be kind to Smeagol. Don't let him have it. Or go away. Go to nice places and give it back to little Smeagol. Yes, yes, master, give it back, eh? Smeagol will keep it safe. He will do lots of good, especially to nice hobbits. Hobbits go home. Don't go to the gate." So he's like begging Frodo to give him the ring back, right?
Right.
Okay, well, that's square one. That's step one.
Square one. Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, and then we move on to this.
Exhibit B.
And look, you can't fold it. You can't make a sandwich.
It breaks apart like
you
this.
put it on the bread like this, see?
But then if you keep folding it, it keeps...
So Exhibit B. So a few pages later, Smeagol's basically saying, don't go this way. Trust me. And kind of the implication is, I have another plan. He hasn't really explained it yet, but he has another plan.
Right.
And Frodo's like, okay, I'll trust you once more. Okay. And indeed, it seems that I must. And my fate is to kind of have to trust you again.
Right.
Third time's the charm. And he says, "But I warn you, Smeagol, you are in danger." "Yes, master. Yes, great danger." And when Gollum says it's great danger, he's referring to the fact that we're so close to Mordor. Sauron could take the ring. And then Frodo says this, and this is what I'm driving at. He says, "I did not mean the danger that we all share," said Frodo. "I mean the danger to yourself alone. You swore a promise by what you call the precious. Remember that. It will hold you to it, but it will seek a way to twist it to your own undoing. Already you are being twisted. And here it goes. You revealed yourself to me just now. Give it back to Smeagol, you said. Do not say that again. Do not let that thought grow in you. You will never get it back, but the desire of it may betray you to a bitter end. You will never get it back." And here it goes. "In the last need, Smeagol, I should put on the precious, and the precious mastered you long ago. If I, wearing it, were to command you, you would obey. Even if it were to leap from a precipice or to cast yourself into the fire, and such would be my command."
So
he says, if I ever put this on, I command you to leap into the precipice, into the fire, and that would be my command to you if this ever happens.
So you're saying that your theory is like, without this little speech,
yes, that's my theory.
Gollum would have scampered away with the ring.
Yeah, it's it's magic. But he's wearing. I mean,
But I understand. No, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not pushing back on this. I'm just trying to look at the holes and see if there are any kind of
holes in
any
it.
Kind of holes.
When I read that, what struck me is, "And such would be my command," because it kind of fixes things. Because like a lot of people are like, well, Frodo, he failed in the end. In the end, Frodo was weak. In the end, Frodo took the ring and tried to become Sauron, tried to become the Dark Lord himself, the Lord of the Rings himself. He was weak. He was weak-willed. But in this moment, his will kind of supersedes the will that we get from him in Mount Doom, where he takes the ring. He already puts a little curse or a spell on little Gollum, and he says, if we are ever in this moment where you try to take the ring from me and I have it on, and I'm telling you to leap from a precipice and cast yourself into the fire, that would be my command to you. So Gollum tries to take it from him, grabs it from him, and then he's like, oh, shoot. Masters commanded me to leap into the fire, and here I go.
So this is kind of like...
So Frodo destroyed the ring in this chapter.
Right. So this is kind of like his fail-safe Manchurian Candidate kind of like...
Yes.
Like when you hear... When you see this is the action you take.
Exactly. He's setting up Gollum as a Manchurian Candidate in this chapter right here. Frodo destroys the ring by proxy in this chapter with this hex.
Well, I don't know if destroying the ring, but he ensured that the ring would be destroyed.
Yeah, it's like insurance. He took out an insurance policy on the fact that he might try to claim that he himself might try to claim the ring later.
It's funny. It's like I've read this and I know this chapter, like and everyone kind of knows like what happens. Like they just read the book. That is actually the first time. Like it makes actually quite a bit of sense. Now, whether or not Tolkien was telegraphing the
punch quite early.
Yeah, way early. I wonder if this chapter came first or the ending came first. I guess is what I'm trying to speculate.
Yeah,
on.
I wonder if we were to like study
the by creation. By that I mean he knew that Frodo was going to falter at the end.
Right. Like when he wrote this chapter, if he had not written Mount Doom yet, if this was his first inkling that this would happen in later in the book.
Yeah. That's actually a good, nice little point. So, I'm just trying. Like I said, I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's funny because, like I said, I've read this book many times, but this time when I read "And such would be my command," like my heart skipped a beat for a second because I was like, "Wow, that's like he's commanding him. He's the master.
Yeah.
Gollum's the servant. In service to the precious, and he, the master of the precious, is issuing this command. So he's almost willing it to happen like long in advance and showing great foresight. Like, I can see that at some point this might be a necessary command. So you're right to point that out as like a Manchurian Candidate. He's like programming Gollum, like, if I say these words or if this happens, you must do X,
Yeah, no, or like right there, at this point, this nexus point, this tied up the package, so to speak.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed in this chapter is how much it's a Sam chapter. Because like you get there and it's not Frodo who reflects like, here I am, I reached the Black Gate and man, this is going to be really hard. It's you get Sam reflecting. Sam at the end of this page says, here we are, here's the gate. And it looks to me as that's about as far as we're going to get. My word, but the gaffer would have a thing or two to say if he saw me now. Often he'd say I'd come to a bad end. If I didn't watch my step, he did. But now I don't suppose I'll ever see the old fellow again. He'll miss his chance of, I told you so, Sam.
Right.
More's the pity.
This might be where Sam becomes the everyman and not Frodo. Like this chapter.
Right. And sometimes I'm almost tempted to say he's the main character. I mean, I know that's been said before by us and by others. But like, it really is... we see him, Tolkien depicts Sam reflecting in his own conscience. Sam even like almost criticizes Frodo, and he says, well, it's not that he's stupid. He's smart, but he's just too kind or something, too soft. Yeah. He says that like right here on 835, it says, anyhow, old Stinker is so frightened of the enemy, and he's under orders of some kind from him, or was, that he'd give us away rather than be caught helping us, and rather than let his precious be melted, maybe. Yeah. So this is all in Sam's mind.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least that's my idea, and I hope the master will think it out carefully. He's
Same.
wise as any, but he's soft-hearted. That's what he is. It's beyond any Gamgee to guess what he'll do next. So it's like he's almost criticizing Frodo for being almost naive or soft-hearted, like, oh, he lets Gollum get away with murder. By what Frodo says next, where he's like, throw yourself into the lake of fire if you ever try to take the ring from me, it shows that Frodo isn't all that soft-hearted. He's kind of cold-hearted in that sense, but also he's foresighted. Like he can see and he
Yeah, yeah.
knows, he has his finger on the pulse of what's actually going to happen or something. Sorry,
Okay,
go
well,
ahead.
let's discuss this real quick. So, and now that this is something I'm going to be paying attention to as we move forward. But if we knew what Frodo was thinking and what his plans were, would there really be any sense of uh, of mystery of the unknown? Sam is our confusion as the reader. Sam is like
Oh,
the
right.
reader, the confused
I
reader,
see what
where
you're
it's like,
saying.
what the
Yeah.
hell's going like, if you could have insight into Frodo, it's like, "Oh, I'm so tired, this ring, all I wanna do is do this, do this." Like, he's becoming distant, he's becoming far removed, like, he's the closer he gets and the more the closer they get to
Right.
the end of the quest.
That is freaking awesome. No, but that's exactly like if it's almost shows like a great master stroke of genius or foresight or something on Tolkien's part, because if Tolkien had kept Frodo the main character and like we as readers just keep reading what Frodo's thinking, he would do what you just said. He would be like, "Oh, I'm so tired. This ring really
Yeah,
sucks," and it would kind of get boring. But the most kind of indecisiveness and the more interesting mental conversation is going on in Sam's head.
because Sam's not affected by the ring.
Right.
Sam's thinking like,
He's being
Frodo is
torn by all these different forces.
yeah. Frodo is now like I'm not saying he's in the like in the clutches of evil, but like as you've pointed out, like him and Gollum are now locked into this destiny kind of thing, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's
No, no, it's
correct.
like their fate or whatever. It's
Yeah,
like
their fates are now intertwined,
yes,
and Sam has to kind of be the balance between the evil and the good, and
right.
this really does become Sam's story.
Or if for any drama like in a novel, it's usually about characters making decisions, and
Yeah,
you can't have Frodo then be the main character because Frodo's made his decision. Frodo is
yeah.
not like being indecisive. He knows what he wants to do. He's never gonna like not do that, and he's always going to. He's steadfast in that regard. Whereas Sam, it's like he hasn't made a decision to destroy the ring. His only decision is to help Frodo. But the question of what choices does he make in order to do that? Like, it seems like he has a much wider range of choices, like kill Gollum, help Frodo, like I don't know, like
You know what it is? It's Sam represents free will in this
yeah, yeah, and in a way,
situation.
like Frodo doesn't have free will. He must do what he's doing. He's like
Y
very much constrained to be almost monomaniacally focused on one task. Therefore, he would be kind of boring to the reader.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not as multifaceted anymore
The
because of
only
what his task is.
the only real decisions that Frodo has right now is what is the best way to Mordor? I mean, it's like, I mean, do you
Right.
follow Gollum or and Sam really, there's no charge laid on him by anybody. If he wanted to, he could be like deuces, I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah. So he has a wider range of options.
right.
You know.
And this really does kind of get to the point of Sam like Frodo could not obviously have done this on his own. I mean, he might have been able to make it to the um the Black Gate, but I doubt it. I think had he um journeyed out on his own, Gollum would have just killed him.
Snuck
There
up
was
behind him and
no
killed him. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Just creep up behind him.
And this does come back to the point that we had made a long time ago, or we had asked. It's like, was Frodo just kind of for a lack of a better term, like Bill the Pony carrying the ring?
I kind of relate it to a addiction or something. Like if you have some huge burden, like an addiction,
Yeah.
like in order to get through that or get past that, you have to just like turn off, like put blinders on, you know?
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
turn off all distractions, all temptations, and just mono focus on one thing. And that has to be the entirety of your mind. And
Yeah.
in Frodo's case, it's to get through this burden, and he can only think of that. Like he's less inclined, like as Frodo, like it's Sam that's singing the little songs from the Shire, and it's Sam
Oh,
that's doing all
the Oliphant song.
the
Yeah.
Oliphants. Like Frodo's not going to be the one to talk about Oliphants because
No.
that's off his mission statement, you know.
You know what? Even I mean, just to to touch on that, like Frodo seems very hyper focused, and then Sam will do the Oliphant song, and then it'll kind of
Lighten the mood.
light the mood, and snap Frodo back out of it, so to
Yeah.
speak. Where he's not just hyper focused on the mission. He's kind of like, oh, basically, this is why I'm trying to finish this quest because this is the stuff that's worth living, like,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
friendship,
It's a reminder of the Shire and of innocence.
Is this one where he stood up and put his hand behind his back as, like
Yeah. Sam stood up, putting his hands behind his back, as he always did when speaking poetry, and began,
see,
"Gray as a
that's
mouse, big as a house."
can we, like, that again, that line right there is another, character line for Sam,
When he puts his hands
It
behind his back?
yeah, when speaking poetry, he's like, "I'm gonna speak some it's very rustic, very,
Yeah, it's rusty. It's like you imagine him, you imagine he's like in a one-room schoolhouse on the prairie or something. He's unlearned, he's not sophisticated.
if you would've said, "Hey, JRR," Sam is really the most important character in this book right here, right?
Mm.
In a lot of ways. I don't know if I don't see that he would disagree, right? I mean, has there been
No.
anything
Yeah, I think he would know what you're talking about, I think. You
Yeah.
know, he'd be like, "Yeah, you get it."